Hello everybody, I'm Logan Alec, I'm a CPA, and I'm here walking you through the latest stimulus updates. Today is Saturday, April 11th. We have a full plate of information today, so I'm going to get right into it. But first, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future stimulus updates. All right, first things first. Have some people actually already gotten their stimulus payments? Now, I'm sure you may have heard by now that some people have in fact received their stimulus payment already. How is this possible? Mnuchin reportedly said next week. Pence said next week. Trump was reportedly on a call where they said next week. And most importantly, the IRS said next week. So why are some people seeing their deposits now? So the deal is, for these deposits to hit bank accounts next week, many of them would have had to be initiated to the banks in some cases as early as yesterday. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I got mine, but what they're really seeing is pending deposits. They don't actually have access to the money right now. They'll have it next week. However, some people at certain banks, and especially neobanks, that is online only or even app-based banks, have actually received possession of their stimulus checks to use the money now. How is this possible? Well, let's take, for example, Chime, okay? Yesterday, a neobank called Chime stated in a blog post that they received notifications from the government of over $375 million of Chime member payments scheduled to be released on April 15th. That is next week, consistent with the timeline that the IRS and others have laid out. However, Chime said, and I quote, "Rather than wait until the 15th, Chime has worked closely with our bank partners to make these funds available immediately. As of tonight, we've already delivered the stimulus money to over 230,000 Chime members. We expect to be in a position to release many more payments to Chime members in the coming days. We're happy to be able to help our members get these important government payments up to 5 days early." So, you know, props to Chime and these other neobanks who are really stepping up for their customers right now to get them their stimulus money up to 5 days early, really. But this is obviously the exception, not the rule. All right, next up, just a review from yesterday. The IRS portal that went out yesterday is for non-filers, okay? That is people who are not required to file a 2019 tax return. Do not use the IRS portal that rolled out yesterday if you have already filed your tax return or if you have a tax return filing requirement for 2019. What the IRS portal is doing, just like what the TurboTax portal is doing, is filing an actual simple tax return for you for tax year 2019. And if you've already filed, or if you need to file due to your income, that will potentially mess you up if you have two filings. Also, if you did the TurboTax one, the TurboTax Stimulus Edition, as I'm calling it, and it was accepted, you're good. Don't do the IRS one as well. They're doing the same thing. It's just that I know that some people don't or didn't want to use TurboTax for whatever reason. They'd rather just use the IRS one because, hey, it's the IRS one, right? Now, as I mentioned in my update yesterday, the IRS is rolling out a tool next week. They said it should be out by next Friday, April 17th, called Get My Payment, where you can track your stimulus payment and also update your direct deposit information with the IRS. Of course, I will do a walkthrough of that the minute it comes out. Now, of course, I mentioned the Get My Payment tool in my stimulus update yesterday, but Treasury did issue some additional minor guidance about it yesterday, namely what information you will need to use it. I saw some other YouTubers drop an entire video devoted to this minor guidance. I didn't think it was breaking enough to do a separate video for it, so I'm just gonna update you here, okay? So what did Treasury say yesterday about the Get My Payment tool? They said, and I still can't believe that some people made videos entirely for this, but anyway, they said to use the Get My Payment tool, you will need your social security number, your date of birth, your mailing address, okay? Also, if you want your stimulus payment to be direct deposited, which is what many of you are asking about, you will need to provide your banking information, right? Your account number, your account type, checking or savings, and routing number. Also, if you want direct deposit, you will need to provide some additional information, namely your adjusted gross income from your 2018 or 2019 tax return. Now, remember, this is only if you need to change your direct deposit from what was on your 2018 or 2019 return, or you didn't get a refund, you wrote a check, or you received a paper check, okay? If the direct deposit information on your 2018, 2019 returns are good, that's where you want your payment, you don't need to change it, okay? This is for people who want to update or change their direct deposit information, just to be clear. So if you want to do that, you'll need to provide some additional information, namely your adjusted gross income from your 2018 or 2019 tax return. For 2018, your adjusted gross income can be found on line 7 of your 2018 Form 1040. For 2019, your adjusted gross income can be found on line 8B of your 2019 Form 1040. Treasury also said to get the direct deposit, you'll need to confirm the refund or amount owed from your latest filed tax return. You can check your bank statements for your refund, of course, or you can look on your tax return. For 2018, your refund amount can be found on line 20A of your 2018 Form 1040. For 2019, your refund amount can be found on line 20B of your 2019 Form 1040. For 2018, your amount owed can be found on line 22 of your 2018 Form 1040. That's if you owed the IRS when you filed your return. For 2019, your amount owed can be found on line 23 of your 2019 Form 1040. Okay, so basically what you need to use the Get My Payment tool, beyond the basics you already know. I assume you know your social security number, your date of birth, your mailing address, and your bank account information. Okay, so in addition to that, you should probably just have a copy of your 2018 or 2019 tax return handy, either printed out or on your screen, so you can pull your adjusted gross income and either the amount you owed or the refund you received, okay? I would recommend gathering that data as soon as you can. If you need to update your direct deposit information so you aren't scrambling to find it when the Get My Payment tool rolls out. Because when that tool rolls out, everyone's gonna be rushing to use it. Just like yesterday with the non-filer portal, I heard that it crashed for many people in the comments, like, hey, it's not working, because hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans are trying to use it at the same time, okay? Okay. Again, all that was for the Get My Payment tool to roll out. According to the IRS, it will roll out on or before next Friday, April 17th, where people who are required to file a tax return can update their direct deposit information if they have the information I just spoke about, and where everybody can check the status of their stimulus payment. All right. Now let's talk about debt collectors potentially taking your stimulus money. Now, I've seen some debate on this, but there's actually nothing in the CARES Act that prevents private debt collectors from garnishing your stimulus money in your personal bank account if they do have a garnishment order, okay? Now, the government can't take the money from you, okay? Even if you're behind on student loans or back taxes, okay? With the exception of past due child support. But I'm not talking about federal garnishments right now. I'm talking about private, not government debt collectors who have received a garnishment order to seize money in your bank account. Now, some states have issued laws preventing private debt collectors from issuing new garnishment orders right now due to the crisis, but these are a minority of states, and there is at this time no federal law in place to this effect to prevent private debt collectors from garnishing stimulus payments. Now, two senators, Sherrod Brown of Ohio and Josh Hawley of Missouri, are currently urging Treasury to enact emergency measures to prevent private debt collectors from seizing stimulus payments. Will that happen? Will they be successful? I don't know. My advice is, if funds in your account are subject to garnishment by private debt collectors, keep an eye on your account and get that money out of there ASAP if possible. Okay. Next up, H&R Block Emerald Card. So lots of people ask in the comments about the H&R Block Emerald Card. If I got my money deposited on my H&R Block Emerald Card, is my stimulus going to be deposited on that card, or will I be getting a paper check, or how's it all going to work? So H&R Block released an update on the situation. It's not a complete answer to the question, but it's a start, okay? So H&R Block updated their tax information center to clarify that if you received a refund advance or used refund transfer, okay, and you got your refund on your Emerald Card, they don't know yet what the situation is. They say it has yet to be determined how the IRS will send your payment, but they say they anticipate knowing this soon. Now, if you did not receive a refund advance or use refund transfer, and you got your refund on your Emerald Card, your stimulus payment will be sent to your Emerald Card. Okay? They didn't give me any timeline on that. Link to the H&R Block website where I got that information is below. Now, I know many of you are wondering about TurboTax. What about TurboTax? Okay? What if I got my money deposited on a TurboTax card? I am messaging them every day for guidance. Okay? And just this morning, here's what they said. We don't know the answer to your question. We are working with the IRS to get more information on this, and we'll update as soon as we have more information. You can check turbotax.intuit.com/stimulus-check for more information. All right, moving on. Social Security Administration Commissioner Andrew Saul published a blog post yesterday about the IRS portal that was released yesterday, okay? And this isn't really sharing anything new except one thing that I'm going to talk about in a second. But mostly it was just confirming things that I've already been sharing with you here on the channel. Here's the first thing he says. Look, people who receive Social Security retirement, survivors, or disability insurance benefits and who did not file a tax return for 2018 or 2019 and who have qualifying children under age 17 should now go to the IRS's webpage to enter their information instead of waiting for their automatic $1,200 economic payment or economic impact payment. By taking proactive steps to enter information on the IRS website about them and their qualifying children, they will also receive the $500 per dependent child payment in addition to their $1,200 payment. This is exactly what I said yesterday at about 1 minute into my IRS portal walkthrough. Okay, some of you ate me alive in the comments saying, no, Social Security doesn't have to file anything. That's correct for the $1,200, insofar as you received, as I expect you did, Form SSA 1099. But if you have a dependent child under the age of 17, and if you want the $500 for them, and I'm sure you do, as of right now, you have to file a simple tax return and include them as your dependent. You could use the IRS portal that I walked through yesterday, or you could use the TurboTax one that I walked through a week ago. Don't use both. Pick one or the other. All right. But here's something that the commissioner said that I actually haven't covered because no one has asked me about this yet. But if you are a new Social Security beneficiary, okay, as of January 1st, 2020, so that means you were not on Social Security before 2020, okay? If that's you, and you did not file a 2018 or 2019 tax return, the commissioner said you will have to use the IRS portal from yesterday, okay? Right, and just one more thing, okay? There's a vocal minority of commenters out there, I'm calling you the SSI deniers, who think I'm wrong with respect to what SSI recipients have to do in order to get a stimulus payment as of right now, April 10th. My position has been, and you can watch my video on this that I published this past Wednesday, that as of right now, stimulus payments to those who only receive SSI are not automatic, and that you should file a simple tax return if you don't want to have to worry about it anymore. This is consistent with what Commissioner Saul wrote yesterday. For SSI recipients who do not have qualifying children under age 17, we continue to work closely with Treasury in our efforts to make these payments automatically, i.e. they're not automatic yet. SSA might succeed on Monday or Tuesday or at some point in the future with making it automatic for SSI, okay? If they do, great. I've been saying that I want it to be automatic for y'all since day one. But as of right now, the SSA commissioner is saying it's not automatic, okay? Because they're still working on it. So that means it's not automatic. So that means if you just want to be done with this and not have to worry about it anymore, file your simple tax return. You can use the TurboTax one that I walked through a week ago, or you can use the IRS one I walked through yesterday. Don't do both, okay? If you already did the TurboTax one and it said you're good, it said it was accepted, you're good to go, all right? All right, for all you real estate investors out there, okay, 1031 exchange deadlines have been extended. Now, I know this is probably an incredibly small group of people watching this, but if you happen to be in the middle of a 1031 exchange when all this crisis went down, okay, that's where you can sell a piece of property, not your primary residence, has to be for business or investment use. Let's say a fourplex. My first real estate investment, I bought a fourplex, lived in one unit, rented out the others, it was great. So let's say, you sell that fourplex, reinvest the proceeds into another piece of like-kind real estate. You can defer your capital gains and depreciation recapture taxes that you would otherwise pay if you do that, okay? If you reinvest the proceeds. There are stringent rules for this. I'm not going to make this a whole primer on 1031 exchanges, but the principal rules are you must identify your replacement property, that's the property you're reinvesting proceeds into, within 45 days of selling your old property, and you must actually close on the replacement property with 180 days of selling your old property. Now, if your due date for your 45-day identification period or the due date for your 180-day exchange period fell on or after April 1st, 2020, but before July 15th, 2020, then your due date for that 45 days or that 180 days is now extended to July 15th, 2020. All right. I think that's enough for today. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a great weekend. Not sure what the weather is where you live, but today at our house it's going to be 71 and sunny. So I'm looking forward to going on a walk today with the family. Of course, exercising proper social distancing measures, as we all should, to keep ourselves and those in our community safe. So please be sure to like and subscribe and share this channel with anything wondering about the stimulus or the next one, because Pelosi has said that she is going to double down and work relentlessly and in a bipartisan way on a CARES 2 package that would extend and expand the current stimulus. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Bye-bye, y'all.